Hello everyone, today we're going to talk about something that I absolutely hate about Pokemon raid battles. Hate. Raid battles are probably one of the most fun and equally frustrating things about Pokemon Sword and Shield. It's an easy way for you to get EXP candies to level up your Pokemon, items that you can sell for money, and tech records to teach your Pokemon new moves. The problem with raid battles is, of course, sometimes the people that you get paired up with because you cannot do these solo are really stupid. The NPCs are piss weak, but sometimes the real people that join your raids are even worse. And one thing in particular that really angers me is when people bring a shiny Pokemon to a raid just to flex.
Why would you do that?
Now, I want to preface this by stating that I'm not talking about people who bring Pokemon to a raid that are at level 100 with good stats, type advantage against the Pokemon we're raiding, and they also happen to be shiny. You people are excused, you're not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about people who bring a Pokemon to a raid that doesn't have type advantage, doesn't have anything that's super effective against the Pokemon we're raiding, and it's shiny, and they're clearly bringing it just to try to make people jealous. Dude, I hate to tell you this, but getting a shiny Pokemon in this particular generation is way easier than it was in the previous ones, which isn't really saying much, but I need you to understand. If you have a shiny Pokemon and you want to show it off, that's what social media is for. Go on Facebook, go on Twitter, go on Instagram, go on a Discord server. Hell, take a picture of it and show it to your fucking mom. I don't care. But don't bring it to my raid unless it actually has type advantage and it's well leveled. I don't need you being dead weight in the raid just so that you can try to make people jealous. I've been playing Pokemon for 8 straight generations, okay? I probably have more shinies than you do. Trust me when I say I'm not jealous no matter what shiny it is. Hell, even if it's a shiny I don't have, I'm not jealous. I just want it to be strong enough to beat this raid Pokemon's ass. And if it isn't, you're just gonna make me mad as hell.
I ain't gonna take it no more.
Now, the first time I remember seeing a dead weight shiny come into my raid, I was raiding some kind of 5-star. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember that the person in question brought a Wingull, not a Pelipper, a Wingull, and it wasn't something that was weak to water or flying. I'm standing there looking at this person lock in a Wingull, like, a Wingull, dude? Where did you even get a Wingull and you're far enough into the game that you can find 5-star raids? Because for those of you that don't know, people who are really new to the game can't join raids after they're a certain difficulty unless you use a password, okay? So I thought it was really confusing that all of a sudden I see a Wingull show up for a 5-star raid. I go in and there it is, Sparkles, and I'm just confused. Why would you bring this to a raid? It is not even evolved yet. So I know what likely happened is the dude probably caught this Wingull fresh out of the wild and they got super excited, and instead of showing it to people on a social media application of some kind, they took it to my raid, and I'm just confused. Why would you do something like this? What was your goal? What was the incentive for you to make such a stupid decision? And of course, the Wingull got its ass beat on the first turn. It couldn't even take a single hit. So I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Why did you do that? What is wrong with you?
Are you stupid or something?
Now, for this second story, I need you to understand that this was before the event where Gigantamax Eevee could show up in the wild area and before the first DLC. So I started up another raid and somebody joined and they locked in an Eevee. Now, remember, Eevee's Gigantamax form couldn't spawn in the wild, but I had to assume by that metric that this had to be the Let's Go Eevee that you could get from the wild area NPC right before you first enter it. And I'm pretty sure that that Eevee cannot be shiny. So when I see this person join, I'm like, oh, it must be the Gigantamax Eevee, so I'll let them get the Dynamax privilege. And I start the raid, and it's shiny. Now I'm confused. So that means it must have been just a regular Eevee, right? But then when they Gigantamaxed it, I realized something. There's only one way you could get a shiny Gigantamax Eevee at this particular point in time, and that is with hacks! Now, I'm trying to figure out what this guy's thought process was. Did he expect me to be impressed? The whole point of shinies is that they're hard to find. For every several thousand regular Pokemon that you pass by, there's probably one shiny among every so many thousand of them. That's the whole point. If you hack it in, you took all the value out of it. And dude, do you expect me to be impressed by the fact that you were cheating? Dude, I was around in Gen 5, where there were people with Sturdy Shedinja, where there were people with Wonder Guard Spiritomb. People had moves like Dark Void on Pokemon that couldn't naturally learn it, and they would just put your whole team to sleep. And remember, that was when triple battles were a thing. Bruh, if you got hit with Dark Void in a triple battle, that was your ass. That being said, I don't understand why this dude would do something like this. This is literally no different than what those people did with those 3D printers, where they 3D printed ivory just so that they could undervalue it in the poacher market. That's literally what you're doing, except you're not getting any monetary gain from it. You're doing it to try to make random people on the internet jealous, and it's not working.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
But then, not too long into the future, I finally reached a point where I just lost my composure. This happened when I was in the Isle of Armor DLC, and I was doing a Magneton raid. I just wanted some extra EXP candies, but it was a 5-star Magneton, so I made the raid public so I could try to get some real people to come in and help me. Now, I was using a Marowak with Thick Club and the Lightning Rod ability. Marowak is 2 times type advantaged against Magneton. Magneton is dual weak to ground type moves, and with the Lightning Rod ability, if Magneton uses an electric type move, it'll get redirected to my Marowak, and ground types are immune to electric moves, so it would negate the move and basically nothing would happen. I figured even if I did get someone to come in that didn't use a ground type Pokemon, Marowak could just shield it. I thought to myself,
This finna be a breeze.
and then I see the first person join with an Ivysaur. Not a Venusaur, an Ivysaur. Now keep in mind, I've been playing Pokemon Go for about a year or so before this happened. And that being said, I was up to my neck in shiny Venusaurs. I had almost enough shiny Venusaurs that I could make an entire team of just Venusaurs that were all shiny. That's how many shiny Venusaurs I had. So I am beyond unimpressed if this thing comes out shiny. I would have been so unimpressed with it, I don't even know how to properly articulate how disappointed it would have made me. Now, that being said, the second person came in behind them, and they had another Marowak, and I'm like, okay, we got 2 Marowaks, we got an Ivysaur. Hey, I think to myself, maybe this is actually part of the plan. You know, maybe this guy is actually the most big-brained individual on the planet, and this is actually an Ivysaur that has Earth Power, because it can learn Earth Power in this gen, and it has Eviolite, and it's just defense bulky, and they're purposefully not evolving it. Maybe it's a tanky Ivysaur. Maybe this isn't gonna blow up in my face. Maybe everything will be okay! But alas, my fears were confirmed. I go in this raid, and there it is, yet another useless shiny. I knew deep down that that big brain concept that I had thought up wasn't what was going to happen. I knew deep down that that Ivysaur was yet another shiny Flexer. I wanted to believe that I would be wrong about it. I really did. But I knew, and I mean I just knew that I was just too optimistic. And as all of my fears and concerns were in fact confirmed, I just sat there and said to myself,
my disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
Now at this point, I had finally reached my wit's end. I just couldn't take it anymore. I was sick and tired of going into raids day in and day out, and half of the time I get in there I get good people, and half of the time I get people like this. I am sick and tired of it. I looked at that Ivysaur, and I said to myself, no, that's it, I've had enough. And instead of Dynamaxing, I turned around and I used Fire Punch on that Ivysaur. Yes, I did. I team killed it. I don't care. Everybody's like, oh my god, that's so mean. How could you do that? I had enough. There's no voice chat. There's no text chat. I couldn't tell this person that what they did was an egregious waste of my time and a major inconvenience. So instead, I did the only thing I could do. I sent that bitch-ass nigga to the Shadow Realm, Merrick Ishtar style. Whew, okay, let's calm down for a little bit and tell you guys about the next story. So, not too long into the future, when the Crown Tundra DLC had finally dropped, I got a good look at a Sableye raid. And it was a 5-star Sableye, and I'm like, ooh, okay, this should be easy. Here's why I thought this. You see, Sableye, before Gen 6, didn't have any weaknesses. That was, of course, until the Fairy type was introduced, which is currently, to this day, its only weakness. It's only weak to Fairy. But this was also the DLC where we got all the broken Fairy type Pokemon, Xerneas in particular being one of my go-tos. So I host the raid and I put Xerneas at the front, but I don't lock it in. And then someone joins, and they decide to bring a Salamence. A Salamence of all things, a Pokemon that is not only weak to Fairy, but cannot learn Fairy type moves. And I'm just utterly confused, and I know what I'm probably going to see when I go into that raid. But I hold on to hope. The second person that came in brought in a Xerneas of their own and locked it in, so I switched to Tapu Fini. Tapu Fini can set Misty Terrain. Xerneas' Fairy Aura ability boosts all Fairy-type moves. I'm thinking to myself, oh, this will be easy. All our Fairy-type moves are going to be hitting with 80% extra damage and stab and stab. Oh, this is going to be easy. We're going to knock this thing out, no problem. I go into that raid, and the Salamence is not only shiny, but it's from Pokegens.com. And for those of you that don't know, Pokegens.com and Machamps.com as well are websites where you can inject a Pokemon into your game with perfect stats, perfect natures, and it can be shiny, you can have whatever moves you need, ability you need. In other words, it's just more. I'm confused why this person would do this to me. Why would you bring a hacked Salamence into my raid? At least the guy that did the EV hack way back when I was mentioning that earlier, that guy didn't have it come from a website where they nicknamed the Pokemon after the website where it came from, so you know the thing is legit. When I first saw that Eevee, had I not known any better, I would have thought it was a legit shiny Eevee. I really would have believed it. But this thing's for Pokegens.com, bro. I know it's not legit. Here's the worst part. Pokegens and Machamps.com charge you money to get those hacked Pokemon. You're literally paying a microtransaction to another company just to get a shiny Pokemon?
But why though?
Not only that, but not too long before this happened, I jumped into someone else's raid and they had a Salamence raid up and it was a shiny Salamence, and after we beat it, I just didn't take any chances, threw a Master Ball and I caught it. So I had a legit shiny Salamence from a recent raid. And this dude brings in a hacked one. And I also had a shiny Shelgon on Pokemon Go. And I had shiny Salamences from previous games. So dude, not only is this a Pokemon that I know for a fact is not legit, but I have legit Salamences, multiple. And this dude still brought it. So yes, indeed, I turned around and I used Moonblast and I banished that motherfucker face down until the end phase, Banquet of Millions style. But that's not the only time a Sableye brought some bullshit my way. Someone else hosted a Sableye raid, and I jumped in. And the host was leading with Sylveon, which makes sense, it's a pretty good fairy-type Pokemon. One of the other people there had Galarian Rapidash, also known as Transpride Rapidash. And I have no problem with this either because it's also a fairy-type. And I decided to lock in Xerneas because I'm like, okay, this will be fine. Now, the fourth person is still deciding, and after I lock in my Xerneas, they decide to choose Yveltal. Now, this is funny, because you see, the X and Y Pokemon games, Xerneas and Yveltal were the poster Pokemon for it. Don't you get it? It's a joke, you see, because Xerneas is the X Pokemon and Yveltal's the Y Pokemon. Xerneas represents life, and Yveltal represents death.
It was pure allegory! Allegory, a story where the characters stand for abstract ideas. For example, good and evil.
Now we go in the raid, and of course, the Yveltal was shiny. But it probably wasn't hacked, and I say this because it didn't have a nickname. You see, back in 2018, there was an event to distribute shiny versions of Xerneas, Yveltal, and Zygarde to anyone who owned Pokemon games from Gen 6, which included X, Y, Omega Ruby, and Alpha Sapphire. And they couldn't be nicknamed because they were event distribution, so they counted as traded Pokemon. And I know this because I had all 4 of those versions at the time. So I have literally 4 of all of them as shinies. That being said, I knew that the Yveltal probably wasn't hacked. And to be fair, it is possible to get Yveltal from Dynamax Adventures, because the shiny rate in Dynamax Adventures, if you have the shiny charm, is 1 out of 100 spawns. So I was very confident that this wasn't a hacked Yveltal, but you know what it wasn't? Type advantaged against Sableye. So I used Moonblast and I destroyed it as a result of battle. But don't worry, it came back on the next standby phase, Revival Jam style. Now I know it's not a nice thing to do, to take a gallon of Haterade and chug it down straight shot and then decide to start team killing people shinies for not having type advantage. But there's a really simple solution for this. If you catch a shiny and you want to show it off, just do it on social media like everybody else. Why do you need to bring it to my raid? And if you don't know how type matchups work, I want to show you something. What you should be seeing is an image of a type matchup chart. You can find this by Googling Pokemon type matchups, and there will be dozens of websites giving you full infographics and detailed explanations of how type matchups work. This is not complicated stuff. It's literally a Google search away. I know Google's hard to use, but seriously, just try it. But with that being said, I know that a lot of people aren't going to like this. I know a lot of people are going to give me a lot of negative criticism, but that's okay. I totally deserve it because I am being a mean person when I do stuff like this, and you are totally in the right to call me a mean person for doing it. Alternative suggestion though, just learn type matchups and bring Pokemon with moves that are super effective. And if you catch a shiny and you're not sure if it's super effective, just do what every other person does and put it on your Instagram. Thanks for watching, give me some feedback, and have a good one.
Bonus stage.
By the way, something of a bonus story that happened not too long ago. I was raiding with some of my friends and some random fourth person joined because we didn't have a fourth person yet, and they brought a shiny Giratina, and all of my friends tried to team kill it, but they couldn't kill it fast enough because, you know, it's kind of hard to send a Pokemon to the Shadow Realm when it literally rules the Shadow Realm. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?